Hey bud, it's Dill. I wanted to show you, since you asked, how to do the power weapons like I have with this guy. You know? And as you can see, if you like really zoom in, the detail kind of gets bad. But really, you're always going to be looking at them from like, kind of far away on the table. So that's kind of the effect I'm going for. A lot of these tutorials that I watch do show that there is, they get the like really, really fine details, but I just want it to look like where if I have these two guys on a table, I just want the effect to come across. I don't want it to be really specific. Because like if you get really like deep in there, you can kind of tell that there's like a lot of like brush strokes and stuff. So everything that I'm kind of doing is very basic because it's like I just want to get the point across that these guys have that sort of like power weapon effect. So I'll show you. So what I've done with this thing is the same effect that I'm doing on the spears for the Grey Knights. And so what I've done is I've painted the whole sword end black, like the whole spear tip black. And then what I've done is gotten very watered down dark blue. And I started on, here, let me get a brush so I can point to it. And I've started on this part right here. This is loaded with a different color, but I've started on this part on the top, and then I've done a very light layer down to about here, and then another really light layer down to about here, and then another really light layer down to here. So you just keep building up those layers very slowly. You just get a little bit and a little bit shorter each time you do it. And then what you'll do is on the exact same thing, but on the opposite way on where this blade divides. See how in this spear, here I'll grab a fresh guy. There's this dividing line. You can kind of see, yeah, there it is. You can kind of see it right here on the model. There's like a little dividing line. That's where I draw the division between the shadows and the darks, and you can see that I've chosen it on this one from the back here and in the top there. So whichever one you do, do it in alternating color styles. So now what I've done is I've gotten a new color, and what I'm going to do is water this down to the point where the only thing I'm doing is just highlighting the top and the bottom part here, and I'm just going to go a little bit shorter than last time, so about here. So I'm going to go and then go to stop at about here, where my fingernail's at. So here, let me start working on that. Yay, it's too watery, so it's spreading everywhere. Yeah, so I got it too watery. See how it's like spreading everywhere? I don't really want it to do that. I want it to leave a nice little thin layer. So what I'm going to do is dry off my brush and then wipe it off. Right, so once I dried off, so I dried off my brush, all I did was just wipe it off a little bit like that. So I only want it to leave such a light layer, so I'll show you. Let me see if I can get this right though first, because I'm still not the best at it. Here we go, yeah. So see how it's a little splotchy right now? That's fine because the splotchiness will not affect the blade that much. You just have to believe that the process is going to work. So now I'm going to go for the back of the blade, and this is where the shiny part's at. And I don't do the exact same thing every time because I'm still trying to learn, but we'll get there. And it looks a lot better the more times you slowly go over it and you keep applying. So I'm going to do this to the other guys that I have right here. Okay, this is the type of consistency I was going for. See how like it's in, even though it's a little splotchy right now, once you go over it a few times, it'll start evening out a bit more and more. So like this guy, see how it was splotchy earlier? It's slowly losing that. And so once you go over it a few times, it'll look a lot better. So I'm going to keep doing that with the rest of these blades. See, there we go. You just got to kind of trust that it's going to get there eventually. Like, see, even the bottom part here is like a little bit too high, but that's just because it's mostly just wet right there. So it'll get there. You just got to have faith in the process. And even if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, you can still kind of finagle it or restart or, it's not the end of the world if you messed up, you just got to have that patience and understanding that it's like, you're trying a new painting method, you're not going to get all of them right. I learned this because if you could see the old power swords that I did, there's a few where I'm like, I don't really like how they look at all, and now I'm frustrated because it's on a mini that I use a lot. But if it bothers you that much, you can go repaint it. But for the most part, you just kind of have to understand that you're learning, and it's all right. It stinks to say that one of your minis is messed up, but see, I think this is the first one we started on, so I'm gonna redo this one. It's the same thing that we've been doing, and I'm going to go a little bit shorter down the blade this time around because I want that first layer that we did to be a little bit, weak compared to the other ones. And I haven't actually reloaded this brush yet. I think that's part of it, is you can't keep reloading it with more and more paint. You got to I'm getting less and less paint on my brush, and that's kind of the goal. It'll be a little bit less each time around, which is what I'm aiming for, because I don't want too much paint on this brush. I just want to leave the layers on it. And what really makes this stuff come together, right? Like, how I told you when we first started painting that, the shade is like how everything comes together. You got to just believe from the shade. You got to put some liquid, once you put some liquid talent on there, it'll look a whole lot better. The highlighting, the lightning stuff is what's going to make this whole thing come together. That's like the shade moment where you're like, ooh, I'm actually really good at this. Shade's a miracle worker. I'm rambling because I'm trying to film and paint at the same time. It's hard. Okay, so I did that twice now. I did 2 layers. So now what I'm going to do is actually reload my brush and do one last layer. So the only hard part now is I got to get the consistency right again. And it's a little hard because if it's too watery, you can tell it's just glooping everywhere. And if it's too dry, you're not getting anything on. This is the hardest part, I think. It's just figuring out what this layer is supposed to look like. So let me see if I got this right. Yeah, I got it pretty right. But that's because I was actually working with it, so much now that I kind of understood what I wanted to look at with this stuff. So see how that's looking a lot better now? We were bad at first, but this is actually looking much, much better. And we still got a few more highlights to go, so it's not the end of the world if you mess up just a little bit. Also, trying to paint with a camera right in front of your face is a little hard. It's a little hard, but I've practiced it once already, so I'm getting used to it. And I actually learned this by watching just a whole bunch of YouTube videos on it, and then I gotta just actually apply myself to it. But it's a lot easier for me to do this when I'm like, oh, this isn't even my main army now at this point. But, and actually I was thinking to myself a while ago, I was like, dang, I actually like Grey Knights so much. I'm like, maybe I should have picked them as my main army, but I like the Ultramarines and their style and stuff, so I'm confident I chose the right one. I like Ultramarines. You can starting to see now is that now it's starting to actually look good, it's looking like a transition now. And so after this one, we're gonna have to do a different color, so a lighter blue. And this time around though, because since I started with black, I didn't just start with a dark blue. I think these blades in particular are gonna look much darker this time around compared to my first ones that I did a while ago. I actually kind of like that. I'm actually excited to see a darker look on the power swords opposed to just, super bright. Because I've seen a lot of people actually do a really bright power weapon, and I'm not the biggest fan. I think I like that they're more dark. I think I like that. So I'm actually really excited for this. Okay, so I gave them all 3 coats now. So now I'm going to move up a color, but I don't have another color to move up on, so I'm actually going to mix this. I'm going to mix this blue with a white, but I actually have that pre-mixed over here, so I already did that. And so now I'm going to do the exact same thing where I want to get this to be very light and a very thin layer. you know, very thin layer so I can slightly build it up, probably about 3 times each with each one. And I can tell already this is still too wet, and it was still too thick. So now I'm getting to a drier but better consistency. Let's see how this looks. You know, you just got to pick a guy and be like, all right, you're test subject number 1. It's all right. Even if we do, oop, had a little piece of something stuck on that brush. Okay, got rid of it. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, it's a little bit too much. It's all right. I'm gonna rinse off my brush, hit it back into the paint that I had. Keep going, keep going. It's looking a little bit better and drier. So now let's hit this. Nope, still need to be a little bit more wet. That's too wet now, which is, well, we can work with it. I'm actually just going to go halfway. So see, we can already tell I messed up here and I went too far. I went too far on this blade. I think I only wanted to go about halfway. So about like, you know, probably about here is where I should have stopped, but it's all right. You know, we learned it for the next ones. And this one, I think I put the white like a little bit too small like that. And then now we're going to move this like this, cover that, and probably about there is where I'm going to leave it. So that's all right. See, but now we got our paint color and we got our thing, but you just got to be willing to make those like initial sacrifices. And you learn as you go. It's not just like I can make the same sword every single time, because I definitely cannot. And then this one I probably went a little bit too much on it, you know, but that's all right. And this one probably going to stop about here. That's where That's all right. It's all right. I'm talking too much and thinking, so I'm making easy mistakes. All right, this guy now. There we go. I'm actually really digging how these are turning out. I actually really like it. All right. So I did all of them. I didn't do this guy. Oh no, I think I did, but that's all right. So then each time I'm probably going to go about halfway from where I left off last time. And it's a little messy, which why I like doing these first. That way when I do the like painting for the handles and stuff, you know, I paint those like gold for the Grey Knights. And I think I painted them gold or silver with the Ultramarines too. That's when you'll clean up. That way I don't worry about getting any of the paint like on the silver part. And then it's an art, so like you have to be like, how far do I want to bring this blue down here, you know? It's like, if it's up a little bit far on one blade, so I need to bring it further down, or if it's not down enough, right? Like, say that I got the blue, like, way up high, then it's like, all right, I should do just a little bit. You know, it's never just the same each time. All right. Next one, we just got to keep shading. We're only adding a little bit, but I think you can already tell we're getting good color contrast on these blades now. And even if you can see kind of like the paint lines on these, it'll look much better again once we hit it with like the lightning bolts and stuff, and I'll show you how to do that. Doing the lightning's actually really fun, but I think that's probably one of the trickier parts on doing these. You know, it's a little rough, but it's all right. It's all right. Here, I'm gonna actually do. I probably should have done that actually on all of them. See how I left the back like kind of like that, even though it doesn't quite match. I think what I should have done is this, you know, to match it. That way, it kind of looks like it continues throughout the blade. You know, I didn't get that corner either, so it's all right though. It's all right. It's all right. I know that for the next group of guys, so. And see, now I think we're actually getting close to just running out of paint on the brush, but that's fine because I think we're just about ready to move to, I think, the lightning step, which is the pure white, because this is getting really bright already. So we just want to do the ends of these guys with the pure white. Yep, I think we're ready. Let me look at each of these and see if anyone's missing anything. No, I think we're ready. Okay, so now with pure white, I grab a bit thinner brush like this. Let me rinse off this guy first, actually. And I don't think I rinsed off the white brush because I set the camera up instead of doing that. Yep, I did not, so this thing's going to be dry as heck. I did not. Oh boy, I'll let this thing dry like this. And it looks like I fixed it. All right, so with pure white, it's like a little hard because there's two things you want to do with this. And the first one you want to do is get that little highlight on the ends of the swords and stuff. So let's see if I got this texture right. Let's just see. Nope, that's way too thick. So I need to wet it down. And white's hard to do this with because not only is the like contrast real heavy, but geez, all right, hold on, let me get this wet and then kind of wipe this off like so. I think that actually kind of came out pretty good. So I'm actually not going to do too many layers of the white stuff. Probably just going to hit it like in each of the ends. Not even do like a full layer of this stuff. I'm probably just going to do a little bit, and that might just be it. Yeah, it's a little hard, but like you see, this looks much better than what we had originally. Oh man, actually, yeah, let me water this down just a little bit more. Let's see how this looks. I hope this dries well. We'll see kind of what it looks. Oh, my hands are shaking. We'll see what this looks like, you know. You know what? You know what, actually? Hold on. Maybe I just need to water it down just a touch. You know what? Yeah, I think it just needed a tiny bit more water. So I think with the white, if you're going to do white, I think you need it to be more watered down than what you did have. Yeah. If you're doing, I'm just going to call it. If you're doing white, you want it to be like really, really watered down. Because you want it to just like barely show up anyway. There we go. Jeez, I focused for a lot of that. Sorry. Hold my breath. Probably not for me. Okay, I think we are a go for the cool part. So now what you do is you get white paint, and you get this one kind of thick, not too thick, right? You don't want to glob it, but you just kind of get it pretty thick and thin. And what you're going to do is you're going to edge highlight. Let me see if I got too much on here. And again, you just have to pick a sacrificial model. And what you're going to do is just edge highlight the edge here, right? So that you're going to get your paintbrush sideways like so. And you're going to run your brush across the side just a little bit, just a touch. I don't even know if you can see it, but you can barely even see it from the side here, right? But maybe you can see it when I did put it there. You can see the little streak, and then you just kind of keep making it more and more pronounced. And by doing that, you just press a little bit harder onto on the brush, and see how you can see the edge now? Because it's like I want the edge, and you can even tilt your guy a little bit to the side to give it that edge. Like instead of holding it straight like this, right, perpendicular, you just tilt this guy just a tiny bit, and press a little bit harder. And if you mess up a little bit, it's all right. You can either hit it with a wet brush or, you know, just leave it. It's no big deal. Because see how this side, you can't see the white line? And then this side you can. So we're going to want to do that on this side now. So you're just going to press and tilt just a little bit harder on this side. I'm going to go a little bit more because I like it being a little bit more defined. And see there, you can kind of see it. I'm actually going to my brush dried out real quick. So I'm going to wet it and then re-hit it. And I can probably keep it a little bit more wet. So, you know, you just got to play around with it, you know. And so I'll show you another part I really like to do. Yeah, see there it got like a little bit blotchier on the side, but I think it's fine. Yep. So I'm going to do that for each of them. I'm actually going at a pretty harsh angle, but I think that's just because the type of... Oh yeah, this one already looked pretty good. Yeah, that one, I actually kind of like a little bit thicker line instead of it being like a hair. So I'm gonna actually go pretty like not quite perpendicular on these ones. Because for me, I don't know. I think when I like look at it, I think it's like a razor's edge type blade. Like you can tell that the lightning is like focused on the point because that's like where the brightest part is. So that's how I like to imagine it / see it. Yeah, there we go. See, because it's like it's got the. Oh wait, hold on. I mean, maybe it's just not picking up on camera, but it's a pretty thicker line here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah, see, it's all right. See how, like, one side got, like, a bit thicker there? I'm just going to leave it. I think it's fine. But if you mess up, like, bad, you know, you can wet another brush, you know, and really what you're supposed to do is have that on hand. Oh, yeah, see, I did actually. You know what? Perfect example now. I'm going to show you what happened because now you can see I got it, like, all over the blade. So I'm just going to take a little bit of water. Just rummage that, and then since it's white and it's already on there, I'm just going to brush it up to the top. And then hit my thumb, brush it a little bit. And there. I think that looks better. Actually, I don't know. Might have ended up being worse, but, you know, it's all right. You still get the effect of the blade, you know. You can see it a little bit better on the actual model opposed to... Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. So I think that's good. So now the, like, harder part is, I'll show you, is that you get your brush and you want it to be pretty dry and you want it to be as flat as possible because I'm going to do something that might actually be harder on these guys than it was on a double-sided blade like my captains have, but I'm going to try to do it and see if it works, and if not, you know, it'll be all right. I'm going to get it basically as dry as possible where it still has paint on it. So that means you kind of want a little bit more paint, less water. And we'll see if this works. So now, what I'm trying to do is add this effect that separates the two parts of the blade. So let's see if I can get it on this guy. Yep, it's working. There we go. Okay. So how I did that, I mean, it's a little rough, but I'm going to take it for sure because that came out a little bit better than I hoped. I'm going to do it a little bit more. There we go. Okay. See how we got that cool, like, dividing line in the middle? What I did is I put my brush completely perpendicular, and then I just try to barely graze it because the model actually is a little bit, you know, like it's up a little bit higher than the rest of the blade. So that's how you get that cool dividing line. So I'm going to do that on the back as well. Oh, see, I messed up a little bit, but it's all right. Oh, messed up a double time. All right, hold on. I'm going to focus while I do this instead of trying to talk. Okay, it was a bit harder that time, but it's all right. But I still like it. I'm going to keep doing the dividing line for both of them. see, I got it on the blade there. But again, I'm going to keep it. It's all right. What you really want to do is try to go with the curve of that end piece. I didn't, so it just kind of went like in a straight line. So I'm going to try to do it better on this one. Yep, happened again. It's all right. I just got to be better at it. There we go. Okay, so I think the blades are looking good. So now the hard part that I like to do is lightning. And so you can do this a few different ways. What I did for the hammer is that I basically, what I did is I you can see it the best here, is I just connected where the high points are. And so if you wanted to do that, it's a little hard with the blades, right? I don't want to connect the tip lightning to just like the bottom. That's kind of what the line's already there for. So what I think I'm going to do is connect the lightning nodes, kind of, you know, like here and here, the two light points, to the center line throughout the blade. Or what I could do is just do like a jagged look. Let's see. Let's do a... Hey, I'm back. So I figured out a lightning design, you know, and this is just me playing with it. So I'm going to repeat this one for this guy. And so what I was thinking, you know, what I wanted to do actually was to connect the lightning nodes, right? And so what I did was I jagged them out to where like the brighter part is, and then I had them connect in the center here. So I'm actually going to draw a little like connecting line like that. So that way they kind of look like they react from both ends and then meet in the center. That's why the other ones are like darker. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with this. So I'm going to do actually the same thing on this side and see if I can do it. So what I did was I drew a few lines, you know, from basically I want to draw from here and from here. So I just put random lines, or dots I mean to say, to and from node pieces until we get to the center. So I'm going to draw here. And then you have to lightly, oh so lightly, hit the lines with this, because if you go too hard, it's going to end up being thick. So you want to just barely graze the lightning there. And then to thicken a line, you just hit it a few more times. And so, you know, it looks okay. I think it should have been, my paint should have been like thicker maybe at the point. I'm not 100% sure on this one. I'm still kind of learning it. So I'm just going to do thick, but I'm going to leave a lot of paint off. So that way the lines will appear hopefully thicker and there isn't that much paint to like get it. So now I'm going to go here. Ooh, it's actually looking worse. Hold on. Let me see what type of paint mixture works the best with this. So what type of, maybe I just need to be like careful. Maybe that's it. Yep, there we go. I think you just need to poke your dots very lightly. So I'm going to now connect them as best I can. Yeah, I think you just need to do like a wet brush, and then you just barely touch your model. Yeah, I think that's what you're supposed to do. Like that. And so that's kind of the look this guy has. I'll try a different one. What I'll do on this guy is I'll just have it arc all over the place, but from the center of the blade. So let's see what that looks like. Not a big fan of that. I didn't quite do a random thing either. You know what? I think I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. I think that looked the best when I did it. Just random arcs to and from into the center of the blade like that. So then I'm going to draw and kind of connect the dots here. I think I also didn't do it light enough last time. Yeah, I think I might... Let me see. Let me look at these. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I kind of like how that looks, just like the big lightning bolt running down the whole blade. Yeah. I'm gonna do that instead of this one. So I'm gonna do this one back. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Which I'm gonna draw like white on the tips of these, right? So we kind of see where the nodes are at, and then I'm kind of just doing like a zigzag pattern because I think that looks the best, and then I'm gonna keep a little bit of it straight, so hopefully get some contrast. There we go. I think that looks a bit better. I think zigzags work the best, honestly. Like, I think that conveys... Holy... I saved him. It needs to be, like, pretty wet and full of paint. So I think, like, you just need to hit it so lightly. And when I say light, like, it feels like I'm not even touching it with the brush. That's how light I'm talking about. Like, it feels like I'm not even touching the model. It feels that light. So it's like... I'm really trying to do it. There we go. Yeah, I think that looks the best. I'm happy with that because it looks like it's activated throughout the whole blade, kind of, even though that there's like different segments and nodes. There we go. I'm liking how this is looking. So what I did is I actually drew all the dots first and then connected all of them. I am loving how this is going. That one was a little bit rougher, and I tried to arc the lightning up on the back a little bit higher, but I don't know if that paid off, so it's alright. Ooh, you know what? I think my brush, again, I think when you're doing this effect, you need your brush to be very wet and very full of paint in order to barely tap the, I'm still wiping off the excess, but I think you need it to be like very, I think you need to be very wet, and then you need to like just barely touch it. Okay, I'm messing up. Hold on. I gotta bring this close to me to fix this. Okay, so what I did to fix this, I just went and barely tapped. Right? It felt like I'm not even drawing on it. Because as soon as you press down just a little bit, it actually splotches, and you want the white line of the lightning to be as thin as you can get it. So honestly, you'd really want to use like a really tiny brush. So yeah, this side is not my favorite. I really like the other side much more. This one kind of rough. I'm going to see if I can fix it. Okay, I think I fixed it a little bit, if nothing more than lightning is more pronounced. So yeah, that's about it. That's how I do the blades. So I think these guys, especially when you look at them from a distance, here, let me see something. Whew. I gotta move the tripod. But essentially when you look at these guys from a distance, you kind of just get the idea that their blades are full of lightning and stuff, Like, you get it when you glance at them that they're lightning blades, but, when you get up real close to them, it's like you can see all the, like, paint marks and stuff. So, tabletop ready, I think we're definitely above that, but I don't think we're, like, master painter standards. So, yeah, that's it, bud.